everyone, I'm Kaluna, and welcome back to another Game of Thrones episode breakdown. Now that the battle for the Dawn is over, it's time for Winterfell to mourn their dead and prep for the battle against Cersei. Something about the writing in this episode felt oddly disjointed. The first half took its time and felt okay, but the second half felt very rushed and it didn't feel like it meshed well. So let's delve into what happened in Season 8, Episode 4, The Last of the Starks. The intro sequence has some slight changes again, reflecting how Winterfell was hit pretty hard by the army of the dead. Small details like that are always nice. We begin the episode proper with a poignant funeral service for the dead, with various characters looking on over their loved ones. Dany to Jorah, Sansa to Theon, Arya to Beric, Sam to Ed, and Jon to Lyanna. Sansa even gives Theon a Stark pin to show how she considered him her family. We get a shot of the various pyres, and although they are supposed to convey size, half of Dany's army is gone after all. It does seem like a small number still if you consider all of the bodies of the army of the dead. The White Walkers might have vanished into ice, but not the corpses. Jon gives a nice speech about honoring and remembering the sacrifice that was made, and they light up the pyres. Later, the dinner in the Great Hall is quiet and somber. Gendry tries to find Arya but doesn't see her. When he gets up to leave, Dany calls him out by name, which is worrisome since how the hell did she learn who he was? Davos exchanges a nervous glance with Jon, so I'm guessing Varys was the one who passed that on to her. Dany names Gendry as Robert's lawful son and the new Lord of Storm's End, though it isn't charitable. It's so she can garner his loyalty and prevent him from challenging her rule. Sansa definitely notices this. They toast to Gendry's new lordship status, and everyone's spirits are encouraged and they begin to have a more raucous atmosphere. Tyrion chats with Davos about Melisandre's death and how Davos isn't really happy about it. I wonder if he kind of feels sorry for Mel in a way. She so blindly followed her lord's path it let her kill a child, and her reward for this service is her own death? Yeah, I think this is an interesting take for Davos. We follow Tyrion to Bran, who tells him he isn't going to be Lord of Winterfell. Bran also cryptically says Tyrion shouldn't envy Bran because he mostly lives in the past. I seriously have to wonder what else Bran is going to be doing. His whole goal was stopping the Night King, right? Now what does he do? Tormund toasts Daenerys, who in turn toasts Arya, the hero of Winterfell. At least they acknowledge she was the one to kill the Night King. Tyrion, Jaime, Podrick, and Brienne are all playing a drinking game, but Jaime is kinda cheating because he's picking stuff he knows about Brienne, like her being an only child and dancing with Renly. It's really cute to see this group together. Tormund, Davos, and others cheer Jon and congratulate him on riding a dragon, saying that was insane, but of course they would follow a madman like him. Dany is very clearly off to the side in the shot and feeling like she isn't included in the conversation. No matter what she does, she can't seem to get the people to believe in her like they do Jon, even after she contributed quite a bit to the defense of Winterfell. Also, didn't know they had chai lattes in Westeros. Good job, guys. Varys can tell something is amiss, and his earlier words of, "it never lasts," definitely feels appropriate in the moment. The good mood of the drinking game gets soured when Tyrion guesses that Brienne is a virgin, though a quick thing I almost missed was that Podrick drank to that. We made jokes of his sexual prowess before, but he apparently hasn't fully consummated. Interesting. In any case, Brienne leaves, but not before Tormund comes over, Jaime preventing him from following her. Tormund cries, realizing that Jaime loves Brienne, but he's doing this to the Hound, who clearly doesn't give a shit. After Tormund leaves with a girl, Sansa goes over to the Hound to talk. It's a little awkward because the Hound notices how much Sansa has changed since he last saw her, mentioning her marriage to Ramsay and chuckling at the idea of him being killed by hounds. The Hound mentions how it wouldn't have happened if she had left with him back at the Battle of Blackwater, and I think it's sort of his way of trying to apologize. He doesn't do well with that sort of thing, so this is probably the best he could do. Sansa tells him that without everything that happened, she would have stayed a little bird all her life. Okay, this line bothers me. I know what they intended. This was supposed to be Sansa's way of learning from her trauma, something akin to "what doesn't kill me makes me stronger." But the way it's phrased, it sounds more like "this had to happen to me to make me who I am now." It's like the writers are trying to justify what happened to her, that somehow the rape made her manipulative and intelligent? No, that's not how that works. Again, I see what they were going for, but the execution of it kinda pissed me off. Gendry finds Arya practicing with her bow in the storehouse again, and tells her that he is now Gendry Baratheon instead of Gendry Rivers. Hang on, Rivers? But he was born in Fleabottom. He would be Gendry Waters. I'd understand if he had said Storm, since that's the bastard's surname for bastards born in the Stormlands where Robert was from, but why Rivers? That's just weird. Gendry wants to be with Arya and asks her to be his wife, but she turns him down, saying she isn't a lady. On the one hand, this is frustrating because there was a time she called Gendry her family and she wanted to be with him. But on the other hand, of course she doesn't want to be the Lady of Storm's End. It seems like history has repeated itself again. Robert didn't really know Lyanna and was more infatuated with her beauty. Gendry seems to have forgotten that Arya never wanted to be a lady of a castle. Sad, but it makes sense that these two wouldn't end up together. Jaime goes to Brienne's room, leading to them eventually sleeping together. It's kind of hilarious how Jaime uses the excuse of how warm the room is to take off their clothes. Oh no, a nice moment. I hope it isn't ruined later. Dany goes to Jon's room as well, where she says she loves Jon again. Interesting how everyone else except Jon has said that. They kiss, but Jon hesitates, and Dany tells him she wishes he had never said anything. She mentions her jealousy of him and how she will never get the respect and admiration he does, telling him to keep his lineage a secret. Jon tries to insist that he would refuse the throne, but he needs to tell at least Sansa and Arya about it. She begs him to keep it secret, but he insists that they're his family and that they can live together with it. Dany gets a cold expression when she tells him she just said how they could, showing off her temper and refusal to compromise. The showrunners are trying to show that Dany is showing signs of being a mad queen here. I just wish they could have done this a little earlier. At another War Council meeting, we determined that about half the forces are gone, though I'm guessing the Dothraki suffered a stronger loss than most. We get a silent Dothraki random warrior there to represent that force. With the Lannister army, Euron's fleet, and the Golden Company, Varys mentions the numbers are even now. Yara has taken the Iron Islands back, and apparently a nameless Prince of Dorne supports Dany's claim now. Tyrion and Jon keep trying to convince Dany to hold off on destroying King's Landing itself, trying to focus on just the armies and fleet. But Sansa brings up a good point. Their forces are exhausted from the battle against the dead and need to recuperate. Dany doesn't want to wait, however, and Jon doesn't seem to stand up to her, trying to non-verbally talk to Sansa to tell her to back off. Seems like he's trying his best not to antagonize Dany, but Sansa has a point. Even waiting a few days would give them a chance to heal and gather information. I'm surprised Varys doesn't mention that. The Starks have a private meeting at the Heart Tree, voicing their concerns about Dany. Eventually, Jon tells them about his true heritage, telling both of the girls to swear secrecy before he does. Jon technically does keep his word by having Bran actually be the one to tell them. Tyrion and Jaime chat about Brienne, when Bronn strolls in carrying Joffrey's crossbow. I'm amazed no one managed to stop him from getting in. Bronn tells them Cersei offered him Riverrun in exchange for killing Tyrion and Jaime, but he wants to see if he can get something better out of it by talking with Tyrion first. Tyrion offers Highgarden instead, and Bronn accepts, though he says he'll be waiting around to make sure they don't renege on it. Or, die. The Hound starts to leave Winterfell, but Arya trails right behind him, both of them heading to King's Landing for unfinished business. The Hound and Arya together again. It'll be interesting to see if they work together to take on the Mountain, or perhaps Arya is still planning to take on Cersei. What's worrying is that both of them say they aren't planning to come back. Hopefully that means just Winterfell. Hopefully. Dany goes to see the dragons, and it does appear that Rhaegal's wing is damaged. Thankfully, it looks like he can still fly. You would think Dany would wait a bit to allow her dragons to heal, but apparently not. Sansa is on the battlements looking at the dragons when Tyrion finds her, and she asks Tyrion why he believes Dany would make a good queen. Tyrion tries to reason with Sansa to get her to follow Daenerys, but Sansa points out that Tyrion is afraid of her. Sansa, now conflicted about her promise to Jon, tells Tyrion the truth. In the courtyard, Tormund says goodbye to Jon, telling him he wants to take the Free Folk back north and reclaim what they lost. We see Ghost, who had one of his ears ripped off in the battle. My poor boy. He asks Tormund to take him north, where he belongs as well. I mean, sure, but couldn't he stay with Sansa? She lost her direwolf and probably could use the protection. We get a nice, genuine hug from Tormund, telling him he has the blood of the North in him, the real North. And you can see the heartbreak on Jon's face as he tries to keep his secret to himself. I mean, he's still half Stark. Sam and Gilly come to say goodbye, and we find out that Gilly is pregnant with Sam's child for real this time. Aww. And then, Jon Snow commits the worst crime known to man. He doesn't hug the wolf. Dude, seriously? He's such a good boy. He deserves a hug, a pat, something. Look how hurt he is. I would hug the hell out of Ghost. Worst protagonist ever. Meh. Seriously though, that was cold, Jon. My guess is the writers were trying to be more symbolic here than literal. Jon isn't riding the dragon because he's hurt. His direwolf has been injured and he doesn't say goodbye to him. Jon is both a dragon and a wolf, a Targaryen and a Stark, but at the same time he doesn't feel like either. So he chooses neither. Foreshadowing, perhaps? Dany's fleet is heading to Dragonstone, and we get a cute moment with Missandei holding Grey Worm's hand, looking happy that they survived. Oh man, alarm bells went off as soon as this happened. We can't have something nice without something absolutely awful happening. Tyrion tells Varys about Jon, of course, and they discuss what to do about it. Varys mentions that Jon is a war hero and people are drawn to him, plus he technically has the better claim to the throne. Tyrion suggests they marry, but Varys says that won't work because incest. Plus, Dany wouldn't want to share the throne, and since Jon loves her, he would defer to her anyway. They can't rule together. Just as they make it to Dragonstone, we get a shocking death as Rhaegal is hit by several scorpion bolts, falling into the sea. Euron's fleet ambushes them, and honestly, this was probably a smart move. Dragonstone is where Aegon first began his conquest of Westeros. It makes sense that Dany would be heading down there with her dragons. It's heartbreaking to see another dragon fall, and Dany is furious. She flies Drogon out of the line of sight, but Euron turns the scorpions on the fleet and sinks it. Varys, Grey Worm, and Tyrion manage to make it ashore, but Missandei is missing. Cersei has opened up the Red Keep to the citizens to 1. Get them on her side, and 2. Use them as a hostage in case Dany tries to blow it up. Cersei tells Euron their child will rule one day, so perhaps she is pregnant after all. It might just be her saying that to keep Euron loyal to her. Cersei then shows us that Missandei is alive and in chains. At first I thought it was just that Missandei was killed in the attack, but it turns out, nope, she was taken as a hostage. I mean, yeah, Cersei has seen her with Dany before, but it seemed a little odd that she would take Missandei as a hostage at all. We as the audience know Missandei is important to Dany, but Cersei probably shouldn't. In any case, it looks like she's trying to make Dany angry. Varys tries to reason with Dany, imploring her not to kill innocent people. Killing the city won't make the people love her. Dany says it's her destiny to save the people from tyrants no matter the cost. Oh boy. Dany, killing a large city kinda makes you a tyrant. Tyrion begs her to try and speak to Cersei, and thankfully Dany rationalizes it as making it look like she was trying to avoid bloodshed, but Cersei forces her hand. Man, really wish Jorah was here to make her see reason. Varys and Tyrion talk again in the throne room, debating on who would be a better ruler, Jon or Dany. Jon doesn't want the throne, which Varys argues might actually be a good quality for a king. I mean, no? Especially when we see what happened to Jon before. He didn't want to be Lord Commander but was voted in, and he was killed by his men. He didn't want to be king in the north but was voted in, and he nearly lost at the Battle of the Bastards. Now he doesn't want to be king of the Seven Kingdoms. Being a good and honorable man works for some things but not others. I think Varys would remember that as he spoke to Ned Stark about it before. Show Varys is kind of inconsistent. Tyrion keeps trying to convince Varys to stay on Dany's side, but he says he will always be for the realm. He doesn't want to stay blindly loyal to someone if it'll get people killed. I mean, fair. I honestly wouldn't be sure who to pick between Jon or Dany. Both are starting to embody traits of 2 of the recent kings. Dany is starting to act impulsively like her father, the Mad King, and Jon is a war hero not wanting to be a king but being forced into a role of leadership like Robert Baratheon. I suppose between the two, I'd go with Jon, though I'm guessing by the end it'll be neither of them. Back in Winterfell, Sansa receives news about the ambush, which Jaime asks about. Sansa hints that Cersei will be killed then, which Jaime is upset about. He packs to leave, Brienne begging him to stay with her in Winterfell. But Jaime insists he isn't a good man and he needs to go to Cersei. Probably to kill her, I doubt he would save her. Or at the least he's thinking of their child. Either way, I was so sad to see Brienne so upset over Jaime leaving. Again, putting people together to be happy, only to rip it apart. We can never have nice things in Game of Thrones. Cersei stands with Euron, the Mountain, and Missandei at the top of the gate entrance to King's Landing. Ah, that's why we see that in the opening sequence. Scorpions are lined up all over the wall. Yikes, they were prepared. Dany is with her remaining fleet forces, and Tyrion meets with Qyburn to discuss terms. It doesn't really go anywhere, so Tyrion walks ahead to talk with Cersei directly. Tyrion's last-ditch effort is to beg Cersei to surrender to save the life of her child. This doesn't appear to be the best thing to say, because Cersei orders Missandei to die anyway. Euron probably is also wondering how the heck Tyrion already knows that Cersei is pregnant. Missandei's last words are Dracarys, before she is beheaded by the mountain. Poor Grey Worm. This is the real reason why he survived this long. It's so we can see him be devastated to lose Missandei. As a warrior, he fully expected to die, and we expected him to be killed in battle. But nope, gotta reverse it, cause it's a twist. Missandei's words fuel Dany's rage, and Tyrion looks devastated, knowing that any last chance to avoid more bloodshed is gone, and the city will probably be destroyed. Man, if only they had listened to Sansa's suggestion to recuperate and gather information. Dany has now lost her most loyal followers who could have possibly stopped her. Jorah and Missandei are dead. Grey Worm is a soldier and will do anything to avenge Missandei, and Varys and Tyrion are compromised. Dany's rage is now in full effect, and all she wants to do is destroy Cersei at any cost. More and more, the showrunners are trying to paint her as a mad queen, a conqueror, someone who can't rule well. And now we conveniently have another contender for the throne, despite since season 1 Dany being slowly crafted into a hero. You either die, or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. I'm a little conflicted about this. On the one hand, the twist of the hero we've been building up this whole time is actually 1, not the only true ruler, and 2, slowly going mad with rage and fury, is sorta keeping with Thrones. But on the other hand, the show is conveniently forgetting parts of its own history in order to make Jon Snow the main hero again. We've seen him make bad choices before in various positions of leadership, and also he wouldn't be emotionally strong enough to fight against Dany's worst impulses, but suddenly cause his dad is Rhaegar, he's the one we're meant to be following all along? Personally, I hope the Iron Throne is destroyed, not King's Landing itself, just the throne, and we don't have either Jon or Dany ruling. I guess Jon is the safer choice to Varys because he listens to advisors more than Dany, but that's not necessarily the best thing for a king. Just look at Tommen. And Dany's rage is justified. She's always believed she's been the last Targaryen since her brother died in season 1, and her choices up until Westeros got her respect and loyalty. But now, even after helping to save the world from the army of the dead, she's got nothing to show for it. I can understand why she's so angry and just wants to burn it all to the ground. The episode preview doesn't have any dialogue and tries to hide as much as possible. We see Tyrion and Dany in the council room at Dragonstone, where she will probably talk to him about his loyalties. Cersei is looking out over King's Landing, which is conveniently very cloudy, so that might make it easier for Drogon to hide from Scorpion Fire. Perhaps we will get that teaser shot of the dragon shadow over King's Landing we saw so long ago. It must have been a fortnight because Jon and Davos are now at the gates with Tyrion. Euron's fleet is in the water, armed with even more scorpions. Tyrion and someone else are in the throne room at Dragonstone, pretty sure it's Varys, and pretty sure Dany is going to order his death once she finds out he has been scheming against her. We see the Golden Company and a cloaked figure behind them. Could this be Jaime entering King's Landing? Finally, we cut back to Euron and he looks into the cloudy sky, hearing a dragon. Well, that didn't give us much, huh? So Jaime will be trying to get back into the city, probably disguised as a refugee, and since Cersei opened the Red Keep, he should be able to get in so long as no one recognizes him. I'm not sure how Dany will figure out Varys is a traitor. I doubt Tyrion would rat him out, so who else could possibly tell her? I never expected Varys to make it out alive, especially after the setup of him dying by her dragonfire should he betray her. Perhaps Tyrion will try to reason with her to save Varys. The majority of the episode is probably going to be focused on King's Landing. Most of the characters left at Winterfell are resting and won't get involved in the battle. So we've seen that the various locations in the new opening have been rooms this season primarily is taking place in. King's Landing has been seen the least since most of the focus was up north so far. However, we get the room with all the dragon skulls. Perhaps we could find some more petrified dragon eggs down there. Now that Rhaegal is dead, only Drogon remains. I figured since the ice is gone, the fire would be symbolically gone as well, so I can see the dragons dying out to metaphorically balance the end of the White Walkers. Well, depending on how this next episode goes, Cersei or Dany could be the final big bad. There are quite a number of people who want Cersei dead, so between Arya, Jaime, and Daenerys, pretty sure one of them will be killing her next episode. Arya won't have any sympathy for her, so that's one option, but since she killed the Night King, Jaime seems much more likely. It just kinda sucks he rode up north to fight, only to then ride back down to get to Cersei again. And you made Brienne cry, you dick! So, do you think King's Landing will make it through the next episode? Will Dany go mad with power and become the final big bad? Is this the end of the dragons? Post your thoughts and comments below. Let me know who it is that you want on the Iron Throne, or if the Iron Throne should stick around. Don't forget to check out our post-episode live streams and to follow me on all my various social media, links below. Bye everyone, and I'll see you in the next episode. Hey everyone! I wanted to take this opportunity to give a quick reminder about how Patreon works. It's a website that allows you to pledge a certain amount of money per month to your favorite content creators, allowing us to actually make a career out of this. Depending on how much you pledge, you get a variety of rewards in exchange. Some of my rewards for you include having your name in the credits, joining my Discord chat room, and getting early access to my videos. Or, at the highest tier, you can even choose something for me to review. Every little bit counts, so even if you can only do $1, that really builds up over time and helps me to make this show even better. Thanks for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.